While oil and gas companies are always taking heat for allegedly polluting the areas in which they explore and drill. For more on this topic, we are joined now by Africa 54's Laurel Bowman. Hello, Laurel.
Hello, Mariama. Yesterday, we told you about an Amnesty International report questioning Shell and other oil companies' environmental claims regarding oil spills in Nigeria's Niger Delta. Today, we introduced you to a man who took on oil and gas companies, including Shell, in South Africa. Jonathan Deal won the prestigious Goldman Environmental Prize for slowing Shell's plans to frack in his beloved Karoo reserve. We sat down with him when he won the award last spring. South Africa's Karoo region is God's country. The area is home to a wide variety of plant and animal life. Its natural beauty has made it popular with photographers, artists, and outdoor enthusiasts.
I think the absolute diversity of animals and plants, the wide open spaces, the clean air, the stars.
Jonathan Deal didn't plan on becoming an environmental activist. He and his wife owned a piece of property in the Karoo, and it was their refuge. Then, Royal Dutch Shell announced plans for exploratory drilling there. Deal found himself organizing the community to fight back. He gained an online following, and in 2011, the South African government called a moratorium on fracking. It was lifted, though, in 2012. You've held them up, but you haven't stopped them. So explain what exactly is going on and whether or not you consider this to be a real win.
I think it's definitely a win if you look at the fact that we're going on almost well over 2.5 years, and we've been battling some of the largest companies in the world who were telling their shareholders 2.5 years ago that they would be drilling in 2011. And we just heard from the applicants' attorneys in South Africa this week to say that they thought because of the environmental action that has been taking place, they don't expect to get licenses even in 2013, just for exploration.
Deal says his group will appeal any permits approved by the government under South African laws that give citizens the right to live in a safe and healthy environment. What do you tell people in small communities who feel, we really don't have the resources to go up against, especially oil companies? What do you tell them?
Well, one has to stand together. One of the biggest issues is to inform people and say to them that if you believe that this is wrong, you've got to stand up to it, no matter how hopeless it might seem to you at the beginning. I think that if I knew when the first day that I got involved in this campaign, the size of the oil and gas industry and the geopolitical interests, I might have given up there and then. But step by step, you get through it. It's like eating an elephant one bite at a time, and you just keep going.
Joining us now via Skype from South Africa is Jonathan Deal himself. He's going to update us on his efforts to keep oil companies out of the Karoo. Jonathan, thanks for joining us on Africa 54.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.
So give us a progress report. Since we spoke to you last spring, how are your efforts coming along in the Karoo?
I'm very pleased to tell you that we're in fact a year further down the line and there are no licenses in sight yet. I've just finished a presentation to a wildlife group this afternoon and listened to the government speaking. It's going to take a couple of years, and we're hoping in that time to be able to get it stopped.
Meantime, what's happened across South Africa with regard to oil companies and exploration?
There has been a rush of applications from international oil companies reserving what they call technical cooperation areas around the country, which is indicative of the fact that it would march across South Africa the same as it has done in the United States.
What exactly is fracking?
Very simply, it's drilling down deep underground until the drill intersects a horizontal band of shale. They will turn the drill bore sideways and continue possibly for 1 or 2 miles until they have lined the well with steel casing. They'll blow holes in it and then inject water and chemicals under high pressure. It shatters the soft surrounding shale rock or the relatively brittle rock and releases gas that has been trapped there for millions of years, which then flows back up the pipe and it can be harvested.
Well, oil companies would say this doesn't really damage the environment, that it meets the world's energy needs, it meets Africa's energy needs, that it provides jobs, revenues. What do environmentalists say to that?
It is an enormous risk to water supplies wherever it happens, but particularly in South Africa, which is a very, very water scarce country. And what's interesting to note is that in terms of global fossil fuel reserves, the world already possesses 5 times more fossil fuels than we can possibly burn before 2050 without pushing global warming past a level at which the planet could literally survive.
For our African viewers, where else are you aware of oil activity in Africa?
Well, certainly in Algeria and Libya, Mozambique, Botswana, Namibia, of course in South Africa ourselves, and Nigeria is a big one, a very topical one at the moment, where their presence is very unpopular.
Okay, Jonathan, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us here on Africa 54. Jonathan Deal, winner of the 2013 Goldman Environmental Prize for Africa. Royal Dutch Shell says that fracking in the Karoo will go a long way in meeting South Africa's energy needs while creating jobs and revenue. As I said earlier, the company's response to our queries came just as we were going to air, so we will prepare that response for you more fully and report back on Monday. Mariama, back to you.
Well, thank you, Laurel, for that great report.